If you traveled back to the year 2010, what current day fact would you tell everyone to blow their minds? United Kingdom decides to leave the European Union. How the fuck did I forget about that? A decade has passed in the 3 years since they left. Because the EU is in metric years. Feels like it. I think my ability to time travel would clearly be the most mind-blowing thing. But otherwise I would just give them a ton of movie and television spoilers. Episodes 7, 8, and 9 will come out. But no, they will all suck. They should have done Thrawn. Be happy they didn't. The dynamic duo of Abrams and Johnson would have found a way to screw it up. Abrams would have tried to rehash A New Hope with Thrawn as a Vader's role. Johnson would have had Thrawn switch sides and become a pacifist cook for the rebellion, because nobody would see that coming. Social media is going to be awful. I keep logging onto Facebook thinking it's like 2010 when Facebook was actually fucking lit. I was around for the early MySpace days, basic coding, music. The most drama was the people you left out of your top 4. JFC if it was only that simple today. So for a brief moment, GameStop will cause a mass panic in the stock market. I still remember the post from some guy planning his high-end purchases after he made billions from the stock. Turns out he YOLO bought at the top. The market makers are never going to let it happen. All positions must close, be damned. These people belong to the same yacht clubs and vacation in the same places as the lawmakers in the SEC. It's never going to happen. The level of delulu in that sub and some of my friends broke my heart. They had no idea the game is rigged. People will pay $250K to go to the Titanic with a gamer controller. Price does not include a return trip. Batteries sold separately? COVID pandemic. Who would have thought that it could actually happen back then? A lot of people, including Bill Gates if I remember right, were expecting a large-scale pandemic occurring if I remember right after the swine flu scare, and the U.S. government originally had worked on a plan in the event it did. We saw how well that went. Yeah, Trump gutted the CDC. So, start talking like the dude from Ant-Man. Donald Trump won the elections because Democrats wouldn't vote for a Clinton, then a pandemic broke, we were all locked down, but people refused to take the vaccine, and millions died, and then Trump tried to violently overthrow democracy and no one did anything about it, and we're all worried he will be elected again. Oh, and there's a free chat tool smarter than 50% of the American population. Oh, and Kanye West is a Nazi. I'm pretty sure 2010 already knew about Kanye. Worst part of Ant-Man 3 is not having him. Kobe's gonna die in a helicopter crash with his daughter, then there's gonna be a global pandemic that kills off like 1 billion people and the president, who happens to be Donald Trump, is busy denying the validity of it, then there's gonna be a coup attempt by a bunch of rednecks and a submarine implodes. That's about it. Sounds like a movie I would have thought would be pretty interesting back then. And like a documentary I'd rather bathe in a vat of rattlesnakes than be forced to watch, now. Sounds like a movie I would have refused to watch for its silly premise. People are going to believe made-up shit on the internet by an anonymous user instead of science. And some will storm the Capitol in an attempted coup and smear crap on the walls while claiming to be patriotic. And one of them was in furs wearing horns. Okay buddy, we have heard enough. Here are your meds. Neo-Nazis will rebrand themselves as white nationalists and the alt-right, and this utterly transparent name change will be so successful that a Republican president will openly support them and mainstream journalists will talk about them as if they're a legitimate political movement. Pepe the Frog and the OK hand gesture will take on strange new meanings. Actually, the signs started in 2008. Gestures to Sarah Palin. In less than a decade, loads of people will die, and one easy way to reduce the risk lots of people won't do. Because apparently putting a bit of cloth over your face is against their basic human rights. On the plus side, if you invest in hand sanitizer in mid-2019, you'll be quids a year later. So Bud Light got boycotted because they courted the sizable trans audience, which angered Kid Rock and mobilized the angry half of the country that denies Donald Trump lost re-election, but we experienced a brief moment of joy when two people with hundreds of billions of dollars agreed to a cage fight. But people have been a bit wacky since the plague. And people are feeling down because Bitcoin is only worth $30,000. Anyhow, at least the guy who made PG porn has control of DC movies finally. The last few Justice League movies were pretty rough. Please like and subscribe for more daily content.